This is the new LEGO Star Wars Stormtrooper Mech, and the set itself isn't really my favorite. It's got some very odd part choice on the arms and legs that make it look really bulky and goofy, but it is a great platform for some alternate builds. And right after this set got revealed, I had the idea to turn this into a fan favorite clone mech, Commander Cody. And I chose Commander Cody because I knew I could combine the Stormtrooper mech with the currently available Rocket Raccoon's mech to get all the orange parts that I needed. And using a set that's currently on shelves makes it much easier for you guys to replicate this build if you want to build one for yourself. And while it didn't really have all the orange parts I needed, I think it had just enough to give us this Commander Cody mech. I absolutely love the way this turned out. The mech itself looks great and it has plenty of little details and features that I managed to pack in there. So we'll go ahead and take off all of Cody's gear so we can get a better look at the mech by itself. Now this is still obviously based on the Stormtrooper mech, but it's been heavily upgraded and customized with a little bit of 2/12 orange mixed in there. The most important upgrade was adding in this larger cockpit chassis piece from the rocket mech. I don't know why LEGO chose to build up the cockpit of all these Star Wars mechs when they used these pieces on the previously released Marvel mechs. But using this piece, it's much more secure for your minifigure and it's a much easier base to build the rest of the mech off of. And most importantly, this also gives us some waist articulation so you can have the top half of the mech rotate separate from the bottom. And then in that same area on the waist, I managed to keep the minifigure weapon clips on either hip. Down on the legs, we have some large orange slopes on the front with a tiny bit more orange mixed in on the back with these 1x2s, and then a little bit of greebling detail on the back of the legs with these pipes. And then back on the front, we kept these vented 1x2 cheese slopes from the original Stormtrooper mech, as well as those larger astromech dome pieces on the calves. And the feet are probably the most underwhelming part of this mech, with only a few pieces missing from the original set. I didn't really see a need to change these much because Stormtroopers and Clone Troopers both have white armor, so these could really pass for either. The arms up top have gotten very beefy, using an extra one of these mech arm pieces in orange from the Rocket Raccoon mech so I could get some of that 2/12 color in there. With more vented cheese slopes at the top, with those larger rounded tiles being the massive shoulder pads for the mech. Then on this right arm, I actually managed to work in a small antenna on the shoulder pad, just like Cody has on his armor in universe. And I'm not sure why, but it makes me so happy that I was able to work in that small little detail. The only downside to this mech, and every other mech that LEGO Star Wars has released, is that LEGO didn't give them any frickin' thumbs. This angled piece ain't a thumb. It doesn't move or do anything. If you're gonna ruin mech sets by tossing in these stiff arm and leg pieces so there's no more knee or elbow posability, at least give them thumbs. I mean, Rocket Raccoon and these Marvel mechs had thumbs, so you can definitely give the Star Wars mechs thumbs. Ooh, sorry about that, guys. Got a little heated about that. I'm very passionate about mechs and the posability, you know that. Now, I know it's not the worst thing in the world, but these mechs are already less posable than mechs from years past, so I would like them to at least include thumbs. But now that we're done with the hands, we can go ahead and move on to the back side of the mech. And there's not really much going on here, it's just a bunch of darker pieces to make up some black armor plating. But as you saw earlier, we did actually have a little bit of gear that we took off of Cody that he can wear and use, so let's check these out. And his first piece of equipment, just like we see him in episode 3 on Utapau, I gave Commander Cody a jetpack. It's very compact, and the thrusters have a tiny bit of posability to assist in flight, and then I went ahead and tossed the Imperial tile in the middle because I needed to use it and nothing else really looked cool there. And it just goes on these two empty studs on the back side of the mech, and now you have a mech with a jetpack. And despite the shoulder antenna and the jetpack, the arms can still fully pose and you won't be knocking off that jetpack. And the second piece of equipment is Cody's customized blaster pistol. It looks like Cody tossed on a little bit of custom wooden furniture to personalize his blaster a little bit. And I know this doesn't really make sense with Cody lore-wise since he's so by the books, but I had the pieces and I thought it looked really cool. It only attaches by one stud in the pistol grip here, but it fits great in the mech's hand and it looks amazing when posed. And that just about covers everything on Commander Cody, but you guys already know we have another mech to cover, based on arguably the only clone more iconic than Cody, Captain Rex. And guys, I'm gonna come completely clean right from the get-go, Rex did not end up being cheap. There isn't just one cheap set on shelves that I would be able to combine with the Stormtrooper mech to make an accurate Captain Rex. So I just said, forget the price, I'm gonna use the pieces and the builds that I need, and if it ends up being expensive, so be it. Now obviously and most importantly, we have to start with one Stormtrooper mech to use as the base. And then I needed a little 501st Blue, so I got the newly released 332nd Battle Pack. But then I also needed another mech set so I could have that larger cockpit chassis piece like Cody had. So for that, I dusted off my old Thanos mech and used the pieces from that as well. And then finally, I also used the leftover pieces from the Captain Rex build. So this build technically uses 2 Stormtrooper mechs, 1 Rocket Raccoon mech, 1 332nd Battle Pack, and then 1 Thanos mech. Plus a Captain Rex minifigure from your collection. But on the bright side, after using all these pieces, you end up with a really cool Captain Rex mech. And Captain Rex quickly became my favorite of these two mechs. I just prefer the 501st armor and his more personalized look. And just like Cody, he also has a little bit of equipment that will peel off for now so we can take a peek at later. The torso is upgraded with another one of those cockpit chassis pieces from the Thanos mech, with a little bit of 501st blue right in the center of the chest, and then we still have that waist rotatability of course, and then the 2 minifigure weapon clips on either side of the hips. And moving down to the legs, you start to see a little bit of dark blue pieces from the Thanos mech, and then we get started with the 501st blue with these rounded 1x2 Technic pieces with the pinholes, with a bit more 501st blue on the backside with these 1x2 clips that have these stud shooters attached. Now these don't actually serve a purpose, but I guess the minifigure could grab them when he hops out of the mech. I just put them back here because I thought it looked really cool. And then there's a little bit of tan mixed into the legs here to make Rex's armor look a little bit dirty and worn. With some slightly different feet from Cody, we have some more dirt on the toes and then some minifigure brackets on the back of the heels. And the arms are just as beefy as the Cody mech, using an extra one of these arm or leg pieces, this time in dark gray, with some 501st blue at the top and then those larger tiles still being used as shoulder pads, but no shoulder antenna or anything fun like that for Captain Rex. He just has some regular old arms. And now that we covered all the limbs, we can go ahead and flip Rex around to check out the backside. And just like Cody, we have a lot of darker pieces to make up a little bit of armor plating, with some of this dark blue armor plating to cover up the backside of his head. And then we have another spot to attach some of that equipment that we peeled off earlier. And just like Commander Cody, Rex has his very own jetpack. Obviously a different design from Cody's, a little bit bigger and bulkier, and it even has some extra thrusters on the side to assist you in flight. And that just attaches onto the 4 empty studs on Rex's backside. And next up we have his blaster pistol. Now it's not nearly as clean as Cody's with that wooden furniture, but I did try and make it look good with the pieces I had. And I know what everyone's thinking, why do I only have one blaster for Captain Rex? It's literally Rex's thing to have those dual-wield blaster pistols. And I'm sorry guys, there just wasn't enough pieces for me to make 2 identical blaster pistols for Rex unless I wanted to buy a 3rd Stormtrooper mech. But it attaches all the same as Cody, with one bracket on the pistol grip that attaches to the palm of your mech. And if you wanted to, you can always take Cody's blaster pistol and then flip around the bracket so you can attach it to Rex's left hand so he can have his classic and iconic dual wield. Let me know what you think of the Captain Rex and Commander Cody mechs down in the comments below. And if you want to build some of these for yourself, I have PDF building instructions for both of these guys available on my Patreon page. And if you guys have any ideas for some more mech alternate builds we can do using a few cheap sets, feel free to leave those in the comments down below. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace, fellas.